I'm going to tell you a story about the creepiest thing that's ever happened to me in the woods, and it happened right here about 20 plus years ago. Follow me. So over 20 years ago, my kids were little. We would go out hiking, day hiking, playing in the woods on a regular basis. And one of the things that we would do is we would go sometimes to cemeteries on occasion because there's so much history. And I had found this cemetery that you can see some of the headstones here years and years ago when I was grouse hunting this area. This is pretty commonplace, common thing in national forests where the federal government came in and bought vast tracts of land, and there were homesteads there and cemeteries and everything, and they just got swallowed up by the forest. It's not uncommon to find an old home placed foundation, cistern, headstones from a cemetery, or any number of things in these national forested areas. And that's what I did. So I brought the kids here, and it was raining that day. And as we're coming around, and it was just a steady rain, and that was just, again, that was another thing that was pretty common for us. We went out, rain, snow, hot, whatever. We would go out with the kids. We'd hike, study trees, study plants, play in the woods, play in the creeks, that kind of stuff. So we're walking up through here, and just as I get to the hill that you saw me walking up at the beginning, I heard something in the woods up here. So I came up here, and it was when I was really starting to develop my tracking skill. Again, this is over 20 years ago, and particularly my man tracking skill. I've been doing animal tracking for years before that. And I came up here, and I could see basically behind where we are now, some disturbance. There was some disturbance in the leaf litter. And this tombstone right here is the last one. There's probably a dozen or so right here. But as I got closer to the end of this small burial plot, probably a family burial plot, what I saw, again, was the creepiest thing I've ever seen. So what I saw alarmed me. I was about, I don't know, somewhere around right in here. And I knelt down just like I am right now because I could see something here that was disturbance. In tracking, that's what we mean by, hey, we see something that's different from the natural environment. And I just could not figure out what it was. And I'm sitting here looking at it just like I am right now in this area. And then it hits me. Everything around here is wet except this spot right here. And in this spot, in the human form, like somebody was laying down on the ground here, it was completely dry. So what I had come upon in the middle of nowhere, Daniel Boone National Forest, in the rain, where there were no cars, because we hiked in behind the gate. There's no vehicles back in here. Nobody lives back in here. Was somebody had been laying on the ground here in the rain such that the ground was dry. And when they heard us coming, they took off in the woods. And that's the disturbance, the footfall that I saw going out through the woods. Didn't see anybody else. Didn't hear anything else. They could have been out in the woods watching us. I don't know. Anyway, because of the possible threat, I gathered the kids and my wife, and we just got out of here and went our merry way somewhere else. But definitely one of the creepiest things I've ever seen in the woods was somebody laying in the rain next to that tombstone. Yeah, come on, join in. Let's tell stories together. A question for you. What do you think they were doing there?